The one on the left-hand side is obviously your before, as we said, okay? We can see there quite a lot of curve there in the knees and quite a bit of a hunch there in the back. Very restrictive in that position, okay? As we swing that golf club, okay? Right side not really able to work quite as easily, okay? Not a bad shot in this case because kind of you feel comfortable, but it's the consistency we're looking for. You don't have to try and reach down for the golf ball and get there. So if we can get in a sequence where you put the club down first with the feet together, okay? Get them sort of set and they're sort of comfortably straight at this point. You can see now your jumper line getting a bit more tilted over the golf ball, okay? So now we're putting the club down, excuse me, getting your spine angle, okay? And then from there we just set our feet. If we get to that position there, if we just look at those two positions side by side, yes, there's still going to be a bit of a curve in the back, but that's a much more tilted position.
See, my legs are a lot straighter.
Yeah, exactly. You're pointing down to the golf ball, okay? There's a little bit of that flex there now with this, and you can see when you do that, how the club almost instinctively comes off the ground, you see, because what happens is your knees go forward, the hips then level off, everything then starts coming back, your hands go with it. So the more you bend your knees, the higher the club actually goes sometimes, okay? It sounds a bit sort of counterintuitive and opposite, but the more flex you have, the more up your spine's going to go. So if we can reduce that amount of flex with the knees, okay, keep that club on the ground there, and then from there we can make again a nice full backswing, club's coming back down, it's getting that body to rotate through. That was a good rotation through there with that right side, nice strike of the golf ball, and the ball now going towards the target, obviously more so. When there wasn't that much rotation, majority of shots were just out to the right. And the lack of rotation you had was purely because your legs were in such a flex position, as we showed you. I said, I'll try and with this exercise, that when you squat down, you can't really move that well. So what I would suggest in terms of practice, and this is the I always try and get my sort of students to do, is go home, okay, twice a day when you're in front of the mirror brushing your teeth for 2 minutes, okay, if you just stand there and just do that movement there, just get used to this right hip twisting over to your left side and this right foot rolling up with that. Now if you do it from a nice sort of straight up position, as I'm guessing you would be when you're brushing your teeth, you'll find it quite comfortable. You're not going to be down, unless the mirror's too low maybe, but you're not going to be squatting down and trying to move because it's an awkward position. So if you can get used to how that lower half needs to work, then you'll start, I think, feel more comfortable having straighter legs. As I said, if we can get straighter there, we can have straighter legs and more tilt. What that does is put your shoulders nearer the ground, and that's kind of what determines whether or not that club comes back to hitting the golf ball or the top of the golf ball. In the case of topping the golf ball, obviously, or catching the right on the end of the tip of the club and it going off to the right there, okay? So the more tilt we have and the less flex in the knees, the easier reaching the ground is going to be. The same way if I said you try and touch your toes, if you bent your knees and try and touch it, you couldn't get down there because your knees bending means your hips sort of tilt upwards, and well, now you can't reach. If you tilt forwards from the hips, so that hips angle is more that way, rather than as you see the jumper this way, a bit more level, we can get down to the golf ball. And that's the key thing. People then always have played golf for years and years and years, been told, keep your head down, bend your knees, and you'll get under the golf ball. A, you can't get under a golf ball, and B, the more the flex in the knees and the more the head goes down, the more rounded your shoulders get, the further from the ball you're going to be.
Right.
And it just makes reaching the ground almost an impossibility. Then, of course, then you're trying to dig the club in the ground to try and do so, and then we hit the ground early, obviously, because we're coming down a bit too much. Okay? So taller in the knees, more tilt. Try and go through that sequence with every single shot when you do in practice, okay? So club down first, then grip it, creating that spine tilt, and then from straight legs, you then sort of put your legs apart and just flex your knees for comfort. We shouldn't feel the need to start bending the knees if you've tilted over sufficiently enough. It's only when you're too upright with your spine, you've got to just bend your knees to try and get down lower and lower to get yourself in position there, so...
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense, yeah?
It makes sense. I'm not
it's
sure it comes naturally.
Well, that's the thing. But any questions on that in terms of what we're going to try and do? How does it feel in terms of the positions for you? Do you feel sort of very legs straight, very tilted, or what do you sort of
see there in terms of where my head and that is?
Yeah.
It's not brilliant there, but I can see the improvement.
And that's the thing. I think we got to think, okay, right, there's number one, there's number two, here's number 3, 4, 5 down sort of the progression line. But from your point of view, you're going to go away today with sort of one clear thought of, okay, let's get myself set up. Because to be fair, your swing's good. I mean, it showcased that when you were setting up in a sort of an inefficient position or a non-sufficient position, you could hit some really good shots. but you made it harder for yourself. So if we can start getting yourself in a more efficient start position in terms of your spine angle and your shoulders and your feet and everything else, we can start hitting more and more of those good quality shots, and again more consistently. The problem is when your good shot's good and your bad shot's, I know, out somewhere over there, or a big hook left, or you duff it in this, it becomes difficult, doesn't it? Okay, we're trying to improve the bad shot by being in a more consistent start position. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent, good. Right.